Hello and welcome back. Okay, so let's look at creating actual useful tables. How do we do that? So to start with, I'm just going to, since we don't have any migrations so far, that is okay. Let's start by creating one. So in here where we have migrations, we have all this. Let me delete the posts migration here. I'm going to say delete file, delete, okay. Let's start from zero and create it. So we are going to open the folder where there's artisan and then run the console. So I'm just going to clear the console here for a second, and then I'll say php artisan make full colon migration. So we're going to make a migration, and the migration will be called create posts table. So underscores there in between, and let's create, generate. So the migration was created, so that is awesome. Now we can happily close this for now. So now I'm going to go to the migrations, and it's right here, the posts migration. And of course, it has a table ID and it has the timestamps that we want. So this is automatically auto increment here. But then now I just want to add several things. Let's say I wanted to add a user ID. So I'm going to say table. And then here I want a user ID. Now, the thing is, there are types here. So if you go to the Laravel docs, this is laravel.com and the documentation. Under migrations, it goes to database migrations. You see available column types here. So you just have to look for what you're really looking for. If you click on one of these, it will take you to where it actually explains, like this big integer and what it does. So what I'm looking for really is, let's see if you, I want to create a big int user ID. So here, big integer is the big integer method creates a big int equivalent column like this. So you see that big integer. So I can easily just copy that and paste it over here like this. Okay, so instead of votes, of course, we are going to have user ID, or maybe user underscore ID, depending on how you want to write it. And then on top of that, we want to add some text. We want to be able to write a post. So first of all, we need a title, a post title. So let's use string here. Let me see where string is. S here, string right there, right next to text. So string method creates a variable character equivalent column with a given length. So let's copy that. See how awesomely easy this is. So table, string, and then the name of the table here. Here we're going to have a title for our posts, and 100 seems like it's a reasonable amount. And then I want to be able now to put some text in there. So conveniently there's text here. So text method creates a text equivalent column. So this one doesn't need a length, so we can just paste it there. We do have the timestamps, so no need to create date or anything like that. But if you want certain things like there are columns like has image, which we had created in oh, this is a different project, right? I'm getting confused now. So for example, if your posts are going to indicate whether they have images or not, so you can just scroll back up here. Let's see, usually we use the tiny int, which is this one, tiny integer. There we go. So there's tiny integer right there, copy, and put it here. So this one is just going to tell us whether it's true or false. So tiny int of value 1, and I'm just going to call it has image, something like this. So it can tell us if we have an image here or not. If you don't want ID and you want big int, you can do that as well as the primary key. So all that is covered here, which is big increments. That's what you would call it. You would call it big increments because this one creates an auto incrementing unsigned big int primary key. So that would be your thing right there. So let me copy that and put it here. Paste, yes, like so. So once we are done like this is what you would do. So once I'm done, I will save this. And I just want to create this migration by itself and not add everything that is here. So I'm just going to right click and try to rename so that I can copy the file name. You can copy the file name in all sorts of ways apart from this method. But then once you're done, let me right click and open artisan folder and open a command line from there. And then now I can finally migrate it. So I'll say php artisan migrate, and now I want to migrate a specific item, so I'll put path dash dash path is equal to database migrations slash the file name, enter, and woo, there we go. Syntax error, incorrect table definition. So there we have an error here. So let's read what error there is. There can only be one auto column and it must be defined as the key. Interesting. Okay, so it's the, where is the migration? Excuse me. This one right here. So the problem here that we've done is I think big integer here is interfering in our business. So where is big integer? Oh, that's a big int column, right? And this one is increments. Okay, so let's remove this. Let's copy this and put it as big integer here. Let's try that again. Paste, paste. So now, in addition to all this, let me mention that you can have, there are these switches down here. So let's scroll down to the bottom. Down, 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 down. How far are these guys? Okay, there we go. So these are called modifiers. So for example, if I want to be able to know a value, like here you see it says nullable. Okay, so I'll copy this nullable here. What this means is that it's possible I don't, let's say for example, maybe I don't want to put a title. I have to allow this column to contain a no value if possible, even here. So for example, here I can say text is nullable. I'll put this and close that. So this means that this will accept a no value. However, there are some that will specify a default value. Like if I go to, or even this auto increment here, copy, copy. So here I will put the auto increment on this one, the ID, paste like so. Let's see that. And then I will go to, what was that? This one, this default right here, default value, copy that. In here, I get to set default values. So like tinyInt, for example, I want this to always start with a 0 as a default value like this. So you can add more of these like auto increment, nullable here at the very end, and so on. You can pipe them together. That's okay. But let's see if this will actually work this time. So fingers crossed, probably won't, but let's check it out. Okay, so create table, big int, ID, big int, not no, auto increment primary key. Okay, so this is the thing here. Syntax error, access violation, invalid default value for has image. So the advantage is that it shows you the query here that it was trying to create. So the SQL query is right here. So you can go through it and see exactly what the problem is in case you have such a problem. So here the value is saying invalid default value for has image. Let's see that right there. Has image, tiny integer, default 0. How is that a wrong value? I have no idea. Anyway, let me let me put quotes there if that's the issue, because I have no idea actually the issue here. Let me redo this. I'm pressing F1 here on the console just to repeat that. Yeah, so it keeps saying access violation invalid. Okay, so for now, let's forget about the default value here. It seems to be creating problems. And let's try again. You know, the key with programming is not to give up when you have an error. Just keep trying until you figure it out. So it's saying there can only be one auto column and it must be defined as a key. So which one of these is trying to be an auto increment? So if I look at this, it's ID big int. Okay, auto increment, that's okay. And then there's user ID big int not null, that's fine, primary key here. So which other one here is trying to be the primary key? So I can see there's an auto increment here and primary key on tinyInt here. Interesting, my friend. Has image tinyInt not no auto increment. No wonder it had a problem with the default value there. So let's go back and read up on the tiny integer. Yes. Let's come back up here. Where are you, tiny integer? So it's saying the tiny integer method creates a tinyInt equivalent column. It doesn't say anything about... Okay, so let me try and remove this. And I'll just give it a default value again. Default value of 0. Okay, so we keep fingers crossed. And we try again. Press F1 and hold it like your life depends on it until the string is up to the end and press enter. So finally it accepted. So it seems this this one here was the problem, huh? So apparently you're not supposed to tell it what value to have there. Okie dokie. So we have a working migration, yes? So let's go back here and refresh the page and let's see what we've created. What monster have we created? So if I click on the posts table, you see here are the things. There's ID, user ID, title, description, has image, created at, and updated at. Very nice. And if we go to the structure, we can go and check what's going on. So there's the ID, there's the user ID here, etc, etc. So please feel free to go through these and read up until you find exactly what you're looking for, because everything is included here. Just need to read up, especially these. You see, you can add an index, unique, primary key, etc, etc. Available index types here. Yeah, so please feel free to read the documentation and figure things out. Now in the next video we are going to look at how to seed a database, because we want to be able to add some dummy data in here so that immediately we run our migration, we can have some data to play around with. So I'll see you in the next video.